How much debt is too much in retirement? According to a 2024 annual retirement study, 55 to 60% of Americans are actively working to pay off their debts, and these obligations threaten to derail the comfortable retirement many have envisioned. If you're approaching your retirement years or are already there, the weight of lingering debt could be placing your entire future quality of life at risk. Let's confront the reality of the situation. Americans are juggling multiple financial priorities, and debt is often at the top of this stressful list. For those nearing retirement, the question is simple yet urgent. How much debt is manageable once you're no longer working full-time? And how can you protect yourself from running out of money in your later years? With inflation, healthcare costs, and unpredictable markets, carrying too much debt into retirement can be a ticking time bomb. The stakes are high. If your debt-to-income ratios are out of line, you risk severely limiting your ability to cover basics, let alone enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. One recognized way to determine if your debt is spiraling out of control is by examining your debt-to-income ratio. This measure reveals how much of your monthly gross income goes toward paying off debts. Financial planners recommend that retirees, who must include all income sources such as pensions and Social Security benefits, keep this ratio as low as possible. A ratio under 15% is considered healthy. Once your ratio creeps above this threshold, you might find it increasingly difficult to afford all your living expenses in retirement. And it's not just financial planners who rely on this measure. Banks often use a cutoff of about 43% when deciding who's creditworthy enough for loans. If you're exceeding that 43%, that's a glaring red flag that your debt burden may be too heavy as you enter retirement. Another helpful guideline is the 28/36 rule, frequently used by financial professionals. Here's how it works. No more than 28% of your monthly gross income should be funneled into housing-related costs. This includes mortgage or rent payments, insurance, and taxes. Then, your total debt payments each month, encompassing everything from credit cards to car loans, should not surpass 36% of your monthly gross income. If you're beyond these thresholds, you may need to take immediate action. Push these limits, and you risk having insufficient funds for healthcare, leisure activities, or even basic necessities in your later years. Before you walk away from your job for good, it's wise to test drive your retirement budget. For example, you could live for a while as if you're already retired. Allocate your income as if you're relying solely on your pension, Social Security, or other retirement income streams. Then see if you can still handle your debt payments comfortably. If you find yourself struggling, that's a sign you may need to develop a structured repayment plan, ideally before you hit 55. Why before 55? Because at that stage, you still have time and greater earning power to adjust, pay down more debt, or even consider pushing your retirement date back. Waiting until the last minute could force you into taking a lower-paying job later just to stay afloat. As mentioned earlier, about 55 to 60% of people are currently focused on paying off debt to secure their long-term financial goals. Among those, Generation X stands out, with around 65% of Gen Xers working diligently to reduce their debt load, compared to 55% of millennials and 56% of baby boomers. This difference is significant because Gen Xers are right at the doorstep of their retirement years, placing them at a critical juncture. Eliminate debt now, or face a less comfortable retirement. Non-housing debt, credit card balances, car loans, and lingering student loans pose a particularly daunting challenge. Among Americans who regret not saving more for retirement, 48% attribute their shortfall to the burden of non-housing debt. Breaking it down further, nearly 60% of millennials feel this pinch the most, followed by Gen Xers at 51% and boomers at 36%. These percentages highlight a sobering reality. Debt doesn't just impact your monthly finances, it directly interferes with your ability to build a robust retirement nest egg. This disruption is especially harmful when you realize that lost opportunities to save in your 30s, 40s, and 50s can compound over time, leaving you with significantly less money when you're no longer bringing in a paycheck. Housing debt is also a formidable opponent. More than 1/3 of Americans who wish they had saved more for retirement say that mortgages or other housing-related debts have limited their capacity to set aside money. Among Gen Xers, this figure climbs to a worrisome 340%, indicating that the generation on the brink of retirement is feeling the squeeze from housing costs. For millennials, the figure is 35%, and for boomers, 35%, meaning that no group is entirely safe from the gravitational pull of housing debt. Meanwhile, according to the retirement study, a staggering 63% of Americans say they are juggling so many goals, such as paying off debt, saving for retirement, and possibly funding a child's education, that they find it challenging to focus and prioritize effectively. The stress is not evenly distributed. More than two-thirds of millennials feel overwhelmed by competing financial objectives, compared to 52% of Gen Xers and 27% of boomers. You might assume that those working with a financial professional are better prepared, but the retirement study finds a critical gap in communication. Even among those who have professional guidance, only 14% have discussed their concerns about how debt may hamper their retirement lifestyle. This statistic is troubling because it suggests that people aren't bringing these anxieties into the open, missing an opportunity to create effective strategies to pay off debt and increase savings. A financial advisor can help you strike a balance between settling debt and investing for retirement, but only if you broach the subject. The takeaway here is clear. Ignoring debt worries doesn't make them go away, and silence can be costly. Now, let's drill down to several solutions you can use to help eliminate debt quicker before retirement. The approach is surprisingly straightforward, but it requires discipline and commitment. Prioritize high-interest debt first, and consider consolidating what you owe at a lower interest rate if possible. By funneling your available funds toward the balances with the highest interest rates, you reduce the total amount you'll pay over time. This strategy frees up more money to either invest in your retirement accounts or tackle your next set of liabilities. Financial professionals often call this the avalanche method, and it's particularly powerful for those who are serious about cutting down their debt before they lock in their retirement date. Another practical approach involves lowering fixed expenses. If housing costs are a significant part of your monthly outflow, consider downsizing before you retire. Maybe you don't need that extra bedroom anymore, or perhaps you could move to a community with lower property taxes. Reducing your housing overhead can have a massive impact on your monthly budget, thereby freeing up cash to eliminate debts faster. Another angle is to reduce unnecessary discretionary spending. Even minor cuts can add up over several years. The goal is to create as much breathing room as possible so that when you retire, you're not strangled by monthly obligations. Lastly, don't ignore professional help. A qualified financial advisor can run the numbers, tailor a plan to your unique situation, and keep you on track. They can help you balance paying off debt by contributing to retirement funds, ensuring you're not robbing your future self just to get out of immediate financial trouble. Most importantly, talk about these issues openly. There's no shame in admitting that debt feels overwhelming. What matters is taking steps to handle it before it's too late. Your retirement should be a time of relaxation, exploration, and enjoyment. Don't let debt sabotage your plans. Take the facts to heart, make the tough decisions now, and secure a future in which you can thrive rather than just survive. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and consider subscribing to The Smart Retiree for more insights that can help you navigate your path to a financially secure retirement.